Welcome to Working Smarter, Concise Compliance Conversations featuring Wendy Rubis, sponsored by Village MD, primary care physicians. Practice medicine the way you've always wanted. Data, resources, and clinical decision support to care for your patients inside and outside the exam room.
Hi, welcome to Working Smarter. I'm Wendy Rubis, General Counsel for Village MD. I'm here with Janessa Nelson, Senior Legal Analyst at Village MD. Hi, Janessa.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back to another episode. And we have a bunch of new listeners from Village at Home. Should we give them a shout out?
Oh, I think that's a great idea. If you don't know about what we're doing at Village at Home, I think it's so exciting. The work they're doing is fantastic. So welcome to our Village at Home listeners and keep up the good work. So today we're talking about the Sunshine Act. This is so fascinating. I love this subject, but our goal is to be concise. And so the first thing I want to tell you is if you're super busy, you can scroll all the way to the end of the video and we have one page that tells you everything that's important that you need to know. But secondly, we're really going to try to stay concise. So Janessa, if I get off track, just ring the bell.
So what is the Sunshine Act?
It's a funny name. This is a nickname. And the idea is that in like 2008, 9, etc., there was concern that you might be getting a prescription from your physician and they may have a financial interest in the company. Maybe it's something they invented. Maybe the company's paying them and you don't know that. So you can't assess their advice in a different way if you would know that. The reason it was called Sunshine Act, shine a light on the relationships. They're not illegal. It doesn't mean they're bad, but it means a patient can assess your recommendations as a physician, knowing the money that you're getting.
And knowing your bias. Is
right.
that correct?
So there's all this detail about, are you a physician? Are you a medical who does it apply to? Right. None of that matters. Thank you. It's really just everybody gets to know where the money's flowing. Show me the money.
Show me the money. So
that was good. Good.
Why was it passed?
This is a real important point that I think is so relevant, and especially if you look at what's going on in the news today in the opioid industry. The reason it was passed is that in 2008, 9, and 10, there were many credible empirical studies, many done by physicians, medical leaders, not industry, that showed that the financial relationship greatly impacted prescription behavior. And many times the prescription behavior was less efficacious.
Wow, that's huge.
Right. And the insidious part about it is that nobody would have thought that was writing prescriptions or writing orders. It's insidious. They would deny, that doesn't affect what I'm doing. Just because I'm doing that with them, I still do what's right. It's insidious.
They didn't know that they had a bias and it was actually greatly affecting their patient. This essentially was to help their patients, be advocate for their patients.
So whether or not as a physician or a medical provider, you realize it, the fact is there were many credible empirical studies that showed behavior change as a result of financial relationships, and the uses were less efficacious. That is a critical point. And I just love talking about the bias.
So let's move on.
That's the critical thing to know.
So how do physicians
know? I love talking about that.
So how do physicians know?
So fascinating.
So how do physicians know how to get their information?
Number 2, main takeaway today. Number 1 was about these studies, which I got cut off on. But number 2 is check your information. You could go to ProPublica, Dollars for Docs.
We think that one's the better site.
Or, of course, CMS is the source of the data. It's not all the time. It's not rolling. It's updated in dumps, okay, intervals. Lots of information, your name, your address, total payments, data payment, type of payment. Was it a dinner? Was it an education? Was it a royalty? All that data's there, and you should look at it. Now, everything is fallible. Sometimes it's wrong. And if it's wrong, you should seek to change it. If you need help, we can help you. But definitely know what this data shows. ProPublica is the best place to see it.
And your patients can check on this. This is public information. So it's good to know what's being said out in the internet about you.
Now, as a result of the fact that many times patients don't look at this, okay?
Exactly.
But some patients do. And because of that, many of my clients over the years have asked me, should we have a policy? Like I've had practice leaders that have said, we're not accepting money from manufacturers. We're not doing it. and they've put in place a policy. So point number 3 for today is think about a policy. Is that right for you? And if it is, and you'd like a sample, give us a call. If you work with Village MD, we'll help you.
So has this changed anything? So we did a lot of hoopla to pass the bill. It's based off of evidence, but has it actually changed anything in the industry?
It's a hotly debated, I know you're going to ring that bell if I start going. Very debated. The answer is unclear. I think people would say, do you see less pharmacy reps?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from our listeners.
I mean, a lot of our physicians who are listening probably have a direct, examples and analogies and experiences in the real world. So we would love to hear what your experience has been.
I think conventional wisdom is that the days of you never had to buy office supplies because of pharmacy reps, and the days of the free meals and all that. I think conventional wisdom is a lot of that it's
waned. Over.
But the real question is, when people are disclosing these conflicts, are we seeing false claims liability? Are we seeing malpractice liability for you had an interest in prescribing this and it wasn't efficacious? And the answer is not very much. I have an example of a case here in the video, if you're watching, of a very egregious case in Chicago where a psychiatrist was greatly and easily discernibly overprescribing a medicine that he was getting a lot of money from, and that he was prosecuted for that. But those are pretty rare.
Yeah.
So the jury's out on whether this act is actually helping anything or worth anything. We'd love to hear from our listeners about that. Yeah. Okay, so in the interest of everybody's time, the last thing to know is get questions about, does this apply to non-physicians? Answer is today, no, but it just changed, so that's timely. In effective 2022, it will apply to everybody in your practice, midwives, nurses, or nurse practitioners, everybody.
And additionally, it looks like the MPIs are going to be available as well.
Yeah, right. That's another change coming.
That's a big change.
Hopefully that's interesting and helpful to you. Check your information, consider a policy, be aware that there's an insidious potential bias.
If you have any further questions or examples in the real world, we would be so happy to hear from you. So please email us, leave a comment. We would love to hear from our physician partners.
Yes, love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and we hope to have you back for this and other important topics.
Thank you to our sponsor, Village MD. We hope you will join us for future concise compliance conversations.